We left the USA. Something is very wrong with the food in America. This one coming from Raising Wildflowers channel. I'll have a link to them down in the description below. All right, I'm kind of curious if they discovered this after they had left America, that the food was absolute shit here, or if it was one of the main driving reasons that they left America. Let's go ahead and find out what's going on with the food in America. I love these videos because I feel like it just is something that really is close to me and my family because we have a close relationship. I just said close twice. We have a close relationship with food and trying to, of course, be healthy and have a long life, and it's a big struggle here in the States. So smash the like button. Let's dive in.
Before we left the United States, we had heard that food in other countries was different. We just didn't realize exactly how big of a difference that would be.
Okay, question answered.
This is McDonald's French fries. In the US, there's 11 ingredients. In the UK, there's 3. An ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane is an ingredient preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, in the US version. This is used as a foaming agent so they don't have to replace the oil that often, making McDonald's more money here in the United States.
It's not just
It's fucking disgusting. Oh, McDonald's. Jesus.
McDonald's, but the ingredients in almost everything, even at the grocery store, is completely different. From ketchup to cereals, bread, pasta, the pesticides that are used on the fruits and vegetables, the chemicals that they're using to clean the meat processing plants, and even the food that they're feeding those animals. A lot of the things that we use in the US are completely banned in other countries.
American cheese isn't even real cheese. The FDA won't even let this be labeled as cheese because it contains less than 50% of pressed milk curds. In order for something...
Yeah. Singles craft cheese. Yeah, it's not actually, it doesn't even say cheese on it. I actually grew up eating this stuff. I don't know. I guess like my parents, you know, I'm a millennial, so my parents didn't really know back then. And I think also some of the ingredients that like are really bad for you just weren't in food back then. But yeah, this used to be like a staple in my house. The Singles Crafts, you make a grilled cheese, Wonder Bread with a little cheese on top of it, throw it in the pan.
To be labeled as cheese, it has to contain at least 50% cheese.
Over time,
you know what? I eat that, like the only time I ever eat that now is if like we go to someone's house that's having a barbecue and they're making cheeseburgers out on the grill, cheeseburgers and hot dogs. I know, typical American stuff. You know, like the burger will come out and I can tell, I'm like, that's Kraft Singles cheese on there and probably really bad meat, but I'm hungry. It's been a long time. I'll go ahead and have one burger.
Food has become more processed. The ingredient list is continuing to get longer as scientists continue to develop new chemicals and additives inside of labs to add to our foods. They're doing this to extend shelf life, cut down on cost, and to make our food more appealing. That has led to more ultra-processed food. Foods that are designed to last longer, cost less to produce, and keep you coming back for more. And that's where things start to get a little concerning.
I moved from the US to Germany. I was shocked to find out that some of the foods I grew up with are banned here in Europe. Like some of our favorite sugary cereals that contain the flavor enhancer and preservative BHT. Restricted here because it potentially causes cancer. All those studies are inconclusive. Some citrus flavored sodas are also not allowed here in the European Union because they contain bromine.
I'm really hoping, because here in the States, we, like our welfare system, we have something called food stamps, which I'm sure you guys probably have something similar like that. Usually the lower class or like people that are struggling can get food stamps. It used to be fairly easy to sign up for it, but anyone who was on food stamps, this is all the stuff that they would buy. They buy all the processed food, the sodas, the candies, the donuts, the bad chips, anything you can possibly think of was being pretty much, I don't want to say the majority, but a large percentage of it was being purchased through food stamps. And we have changed that now, so you can't buy food like that anymore. I think it's still, we're in the transition phase, but if you are on food stamps, you have to buy whole foods, which I personally think is great because I'm like, yes, let's stop killing our, you know, underprivileged people who are struggling. Let's like give them real food. I'm hoping it takes a hit on this market, but probably not. I don't know.
Vegetable oil, a chemical that keeps the citrus flavor from separating and floating to the top. Eggs here in Europe come with chicken poop and feathers on them. Washed eggs, like the ones you find in the US, are illegal here because washing the egg destroys a natural layer of the egg that protects against bacteria. So that's why the eggs here, unlike in the US, don't have to be refrigerated.
It's easy to say just don't buy that stuff, but the environment in the United States is designed for these products to sell. A lot of the most common foods in the US are engineered for you to crave them. They are appealing in a way that overrides your natural sense of fullness. Companies are spending millions of dollars trying to figure out how to make foods more craveable, not to make them more healthy. They are looking for the right combination of salt and sugar and fat and even texture so that it hits your brain just right. You get a dopamine hit and you can't stop. And when you combine that with the fact that our foods are completely stripped of any real nutrients, then it leaves your body craving more food just to get the nutrients that it needs. So it leaves a lot of Americans overweight, but undernourished. At some point, it stops feeling like real food and you start wondering what it is that you are actually eating.
I bought this bread months ago. This is the expiration date. It is best used by December 28th, 2025. It is currently February 10th or 11th of 2026. This bread has absolutely no imperfections, nothing. And I used to have to like freeze my bread, the same bread like years ago, just because it went bad on me so quick. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're giving us fake bread.
When the food that you're eating doesn't behave like real natural food, then you start to wonder, what is it actually doing to your body? So we left the US over a year ago and have been traveling around Southeast Asia, and also we spent some time in Europe. My husband has been battling an autoimmune disease, and after leaving the US, it has been much easier for him to calm down any flare-ups, find real whole foods. That has made a tremendous difference to just his overall well-being. For me, I noticed it in a different way. I was having some signs of perimenopause in my late 30s before we left, and those have completely gone away since we left the US. I can't say exactly why, but it does make you wonder why there is such a rise in autoimmune diseases, hormone imbalances, and all of that stuff in the US. And could it potentially be tied to the food that we're eating? And we are not the only ones who have noticed this.
I just came home from 2 months of traveling around Southeast Asia, and I weighed myself and I measured like different parts of my body, like my waist, my hips, my legs, etc., before I left so that I could compare when I got back home. I just did both of those things. I remeasured and reweighed myself, and in 2 months I lost 13 pounds and 18 and a half inches around my whole body. When I'm home, I cook all my own meals. I exercise 4 to 5 times a week. And when I'm traveling, I don't really I don't do much exercising besides just like daily walking, and I eat every single meal out. There is something wrong with the food in America, and I will fucking die on this hill.
What she just said there, right, too, where she's like, I eat every meal out. That is also a huge problem, because like that is a really, I don't know if it's a generational thing, especially like the Zoomers, the Gen Z generation. There was a big argument going on X recently because a lot of Americans, the young Americans, are eating out because they'll go eat and spend $25 US on lunch every single day, or like 5 days a week when they're going to work, and then they have no money left over, which is wild that like everybody just eats out that much. Like, I don't eat out we eat out one night a week. One night. We usually reserve it for the middle of the week when we have a lot of sports or something, and we don't go get fast food. We do takeout from like a restaurant. It's just nuts that people eat out that frequently. People got to make their own food.
Like, I've been back for 3 days and I immediately already have bloating, acid reflux, heartburn, and a stomach ache after every single meal I've had since I've been home.
For us, stepping outside of the US is where things really started to feel different. It was like a reset. We didn't leave because of the food, but it was one of the first things that we noticed. Ingredient lists were shorter. Food actually looked like real food. Even just walking through the grocery store felt different. We didn't have that constant need to check labels. In places like Southeast Asia, fresh food is everywhere. There are markets everywhere, local markets with local food that's grown right here, and street food where they cook like homemade meals with fresh ingredients right there every day, and you can just buy them from your neighbors. And when all of that is available to you, it really changes how much constant pressure you are under to try and figure out how to eat healthy, because most of the stuff around you is pretty healthy. It's real, fresh ingredients. Now, not everything is super healthy. I mean, they do use a lot of oil in Asia, and there's still processed foods in Europe that you can buy. It's just easier. And because these foods are not engineered to make you crave more, it's a lot easier to resist the feeling of constantly needing to eat. You eat a meal and you feel full. We do a lot less thinking when it comes to food now. And one of the things that surprised us the most actually has nothing to do with health. It has to do with cost. I assumed that when we went to Europe that the food prices were going to be a lot higher, definitely as high as...
Yes. We've done a lot of food videos on the channel, supermarket videos. I got a lot of countries left over that we got to do some supermarket videos on, reactions too. But one of the things is I always thought that your guys' food was really, really expensive. And I know in some cases it can be, like certain areas, especially if you're in the city, it's going to be more expensive than if you're at a market, you know, farther out in a town. But I've been pretty much blown away in every single supermarket video that I've checked out of the pricing. It's just way lower than ours. Ours is really expensive.
In the United States. But what we found is that the food is higher quality and actually cost
cheaper,
less. It was so nice to be able to go into a
crazy.
grocery store and not have to check every single label, because a lot of the things that we tried to avoid just were not allowed to be put in the food. They are banned. I mean, sure, you can buy processed stuff, but it's not going to be stuff that is super harmful to your body. And the problem in the US starts really early. Just look at school lunches. They are oftentimes ultra processed, low cost, shelf stable, so that they can be easy to serve at scale. And when those types of foods become normal at such a young age, it shapes what kids think food is supposed to look like when they grow up.
American school lunches taste horrible because of 3 reasons. The first reason is due to America's bizarre school lunch rules, because a loophole allows a certain amount of tomato sauce to be classified as a vegetable, which has led to foods like pizza and Hot Pockets to be classified as healthy meals. But
I will say we did flip our food pyramid here in the States, which I was very happy to see get done. And some of my kids' schools, cafeterias, have started changing the type of food that they're feeding the kids. So I know it's going to take a long time for all that to get implemented, but that's wild that tomato sauce is like, if you put it on pizza, it's considered a vegetable. That's nuts.
it gets worse because compared to other countries in Europe and Asia where schools get upwards of $8 per meal, American schools only get $3.50 per meal. And lastly, this has led many schools having to use processed foods and source low-quality ingredients for meals, as they don't have
Our kids have
enough
to
money.
pay for
So
lunch
it's
if
not
they eat at the
just
school.
individual
They
choices.
don't, but
It's the system that we're growing up in. And when all of this becomes the norm, when most of the available options are built this way in the US, it starts to shape the entire system. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to make the healthiest foods possible. It's to make the food that sells. Food that is affordable to produce, easy to scale, and keeps people coming back for more. And that works really well for the companies who are selling it. But it doesn't work out so well for the people who are eating it. And over time, you start to see the effects that this is having, not just on a day-to-day basis, but in people's overall health and longevity over time. People are ending up with chronic health conditions. There's never been a higher rate of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and these people end up needing more medical care. And that's where the conversation starts to get a lot bigger than just food. Because once you start connecting the dots, you start to realize that food is just one piece of something much bigger.
Food is the reason health insurance is so expensive here. Bad food, bad health, higher costs. All right, good video. Shout out to Raising Wildflowers. That was solid. And shout out to you for recommending this for me. Really appreciate it. I'm getting out of here. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.